Hello, I'm Jenny Luddington,
And I'm Sue Allsworth.
and this is our weekly vlog 12 Ways to Enhance Your Life. And this week is week 7. And today we're going to be talking about praising yourself. And last week you didn't hear very much from me because Sue was talking about forgiveness. This week I might be stealing centre stage. We've just finished listening to a song while we were having a bit of a break. It's by a group called Stogard. It's called Born Winner. And it's all about how you, believe it or not, are a born winner because out of 20,000 sperm, you were the one that made it to the egg to make you. So no matter how crappy a day you're having, you are already a born winner. So you can praise yourself for that right here, right now. So why is praise so important? Talked a lot recently about avoiding criticism, about forgiving yourself. So if you're releasing that, you're making a vacuum in yourself. And that vacuum needs to be filled with something. So what better to fill it with than praising yourself? Because it makes you feel good.
Having your own inner fan club.
And to be authentic, you've really got to believe about all those things that you do, no matter how big or small, that you achieve, and take a moment to appreciate those things. We don't always get praise from others, and sometimes praise from others, if we don't believe it, can actually feel quite shallow.
And quite often we're actually looking for praise from others when actually it's in theory, it's not anyone else's job to praise you. It's lovely when they do, but it's actually not their job to. That has to come from within if you want it to be sustainable as well. And for you to actually, you're not going to believe necessarily someone else's words if you don't feel it yourself. I've got my own inner fan club, but here is my fan club.
Woo! And here is mine.
Woo! And it is about we both. I know Jenny and I both in the past have it's about surrounding yourself with the right people who are going to build you up, not because you're reliant on them to build you up, but you're building yourself up, you're vibrating on a good and a higher level, and it's about having people around you that complement that rather than pull that back down. That doesn't mean to say the other people are bad or anything, it's just that you're vibrating at different levels, and you've got to find the people that are vibrating on the same similar wavelength to you. So God help me, I've got Jenny here.
And likewise. And it's finding that balance. You can look to your everyday achievements and think, what have I done today? One of the very first things we talked about was how we either did gratitude in the morning or in the evening. So it doesn't matter which way you tackle this, but if each day you think about the things that you're grateful for and look about actually what you've achieved in a day, and that can be a really good starting place, looking at the things you've achieved. They might not be brokering world peace or ending world hunger, but if you have made a difference in somebody else's life, if you've brought a smile, if you've done a small act of service, that is an amazing place to start praising yourself.
I have to admit, while you're talking, all I've got going through my head is Heather Small, What Have You Done Today to Make Yourself Feel Proud, the song. If you don't know it, look it up. It was the theme tune for the 2012 London Olympics. And it is just an absolute reminder whenever I'm singing along to that. It is, what have I done today to make myself feel proud? And I think it reminds me of the big things. And as you say, Jenny, it's the little things as well as the big things. And when you have achieved and overcome quite a lot of things. Don't come complacent about it, because I have a bit of a habit of comparing. But what I'm doing now is nothing compared to something that I did 10 years ago. That was bigger. That was something to be really proud of. That was to do with my health, whereas this is just, and you don't compare, because every single act of service, of a good deed to yourself or to others, is something to be praised for and to be proud of, especially in the world that we are living in at the moment. And it makes a ripple.
Yeah. And also, when you are living in a place where you're mindful of praise, give it out. You can't give enough out. You're thinking about yourself, but you can also think of others. When somebody does an act of service for you, or makes you smile, you can say to that person, thank you. I mean, it's so easy in today's busy modern society to go bustling through life without really much thought or appreciation for the things that others do for us. And quite often we don't know the impact, especially on strangers, that a small thank you or a small smile, compliment, you know, um, thanking somebody for something.
We quite often sit there feeling that we're lacking because people aren't showing gratitude or a praise towards our own actions. But then you have to look at yourself. Are you doing that enough to other people as well? You can't just sit there and expect others to keep praising you. Again, with all of these things, at the end of the day, it's lovely when it comes from friends and from family and that, but you've got to be the one that really does believe in it. You've got to feel that you've done something that you're proud of. If you're not the one that's feeling proud, then it doesn't matter, to be fair, how many times and what other people say to you. If you're not feeling it and believing it yourself, within yourself, it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah, and I think there's also something in our culture. I'm mindful of a conversation that we had recently with friends about how it's really not quite in the British psyche to be proud of our achievements. We feel almost obliged to hide our light under a bushel. And one of the activities that I quite often do in groups, because people struggle to find things about themselves that they can be proud of, is to get a group to write down a list of all the attributes that they appreciate in another person. And when you actually sit down and you look at the list of lovely things that people have written that they love about you, it really warms your heart. So if you can do that with some friends, people that you love and that you trust, and look at the things that you may have a huge blind spot about your attributes.
You've actually just reminded me of something that happened in group the other day. And you saying that it's not part of our custom. One of the reasons why we don't show our proudness is because other people deem it to be egotistical or vain. Therefore, we keep ourselves quiet about our achievements because we don't want to be seen as a big head or anything like that. But the bottom line is if you've done something to be proud of, shout about it, to the right people maybe, but, be proud. Don't be quiet about it. As a junior, I was a tennis player and I played for Kent. And back in those days, I was a good tennis player and at table tennis. And yet it feels wrong for me to sit here and say that. One, I'm not necessarily as good now because I'm older and not so fit. But it's because of that English culture of, if anyone is deemed to be shouting that, actually, do you know what? I'm good at that. This is what I'm good at. This is me. This is who I am. And this is what I'm good at. And if you're not the ones that are going to say it, then who else is going to? And you're the one that's got to believe it. So I think a big thing that goes through my head is, actually, I don't give a damn what other people think of me, because it's none of my business. What I think of others is none of their business. But I've got to be the one that builds me up. If you're at rock bottom, you're the one that's got to build yourself up. And one way of building yourself up is by praising yourself and being authentic and genuine about saying, actually, I am good at that. And not feeling a fear to say, I'm good at that.
You know, own the things that make you proud.
And if other people deem it as egotistical or vain in some way or anything like that, no disrespect to those other people, because I've been in that position myself. It's their own insecurities that are probably coming through, and they're not wanting to sit. What you're showing is something that they know they're lacking in themselves.
And you don't have to own somebody else's insecurities.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So thank you so much for joining with us today. As always, you
Actually, what I'm going to do before there, what I would like you to all do is put your arms out in front of you right now, cross them over, and then wrap them around yourself, and give yourselves a really, really big hug, and say to yourself, you are doing really, really well, and think of something that you have achieved in the last week or day or in a short time that you are actually really proud of yourself, and just give yourself a hug of praise, because you're doing absolutely brilliantly.
Absolutely. And if you would like to share that, I'm not stopping hugging myself at the moment. If you would like to share
with you
something that you are absolutely awesome at in the comment section below,
please let
that
us
would
know,
be
because we'll just
awesome.
tell you how awesome you are as well. So until next week, you can find Jenny at
All Heart Led on Facebook.
And you can find me, Sue Allsworth, at AuthenticSmile.com and Authentic Smile in Facebook. So until the next time, have an awesome week. Praise yourself and remind yourself that you're doing a brilliant, brilliant job, even if you don't realise it.
Bye.
Bye.